Welcome to the Rural Roots Canada podcast. I'm your host, Tim Parent, joined alongside host Craig Lester. And Craig, happy Canada Day week, I guess we can call it that. I hope it was a good holiday for you. You had a pretty busy lead up to this week with the CDC Neweall Ag Summit. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a week and a half ago now, and what a time that was to be able to attend that event. There was a lot of excitement in the room, and there was a really, really great turnout for this event down in Brooks. We were really excited to come down and to be able to cover that once again on the road, which we love being out on location. So there was a lot of energy in the room, a lot of excitement around ideas in regards to the CDC Newell South site, which is the county of Newell has taken over. It used to be with the Alberta government, and then they switched it over, and Lethbridge Polytechnic was managing it for a couple of years, and now it's been passed over to the county of Newell to try and jumpstart the research at this facility down in southeast Alberta. There was a sense of collaboration in the room. And as I mentioned, excitement around that in regards to bringing producers, researchers, academia, and innovators together into a space to talk about issues with going on in the agriculture research sector, and then the opportunity that CDC South has to fill a need in regards to building capacity for sites to be able to do research at. And it was just awesome to be able to tour that site. The county of Newell has put a lot of time and money into getting the facilities up so that it can handle research projects, and they're constantly looking for people to come fill these sites and to rent them and lease them to do their research projects at. And they have both greenhouse facilities as well as outdoor fields where research can be done. And I definitely recommend people check that out. So while I was there, I had a great chat with Arno Dirksen, who is the Reeve for the County of Newell, about the day and the site itself.
I guess what we'll start off with today is just your reaction to the event as a whole.
Oh, that was a good day today. I thought we were able to bring a lot of people together from a diverse background, but really producers and industry and academia, researchers, innovators. I thought it was an excellent day of collaboration and probably the seed to partnership, really.
Excellent. And what kind of feedback did you hear throughout the day and towards the end of the day?
Well, remarkably positive. I think couldn't have asked for a better day, really. I mean, this attracted a lot of really people who have a significant opportunity to make a difference, in their industry, but also to our future here at CDC. A lot of horsepower in the room today, really.
Excellent. And so I guess where is CDC at? A little bit of background and where it's headed.
Well, it's uptake has been slow in terms of research. I mean, the grounds, the facilities look great. The County of Newell staff has done a remarkable job of getting things in shape. There's some funding that's been a little bit delayed from the province, so there's not as much uptake on research as there needs to be. But I think a day like today really will help be a springboard to the next steps, and that will be around some strategic planning and a bit more definition on an org structure.
Excellent. And I guess, do you have any messages for people out there that are looking for space?
Well, I think we have a lot of space available. I think there's an opportunity to do some good work here at CDC, and I guess I feel like this is a place with a positive, bright future, basically. So there's opportunity here, and I think today really highlighted that in the minds of a lot of people.
One of the attendees at the conference who had a chance to speak, I talked with Andrew Dunlop from Lethbridge Polytechnic, and he had talked about their experience with CDC South, as well as what they were contributing to that day, and just in regards to what is new at Lethbridge Polytechnic as well.
So what I'll start off with here is just your thoughts on why did you decide to come out and speak at the CDC today, and tell me what your impressions of today.
I felt it was really important for Lethbridge Polytechnic to have a good showing here today, and we had a good number of our team here, and that's because of our history with CDC South, going back to 2019 when we were asked, as at the time Lethbridge College, to take on some responsibility for the greenhouse of CDC South because we had some expertise in that area. And as was mentioned by a speaker earlier, that that was not necessarily an easy thing to do. Just take it on, and it was a facility that that had some shortcomings, but just in terms of how to set up research, it was a wonderful facility, but very large, and wasn't quite where industry was at. And we have to work with industry and be where industry is. So if industry says this facility doesn't quite work for us, then that was difficult. But in the interim, we did do some really good projects. But at the end of the first 3-year lease, we made the tough decision to say, okay, it's really hard for us to manage an actual facility. We can do the science and we can work with industry, bringing clients, but it's really hard to manage a facility, especially remotely from Lethbridge. So as it turned out, we had to give the unfortunate news to Alberta Agriculture that we were going to give up our lease and not renew it. County of Newell stepped in, and almost immediately we start to talk with County of Newell and say, look, you guys have the ability to run facilities. You run a whole county. You run lots of operations. You guys get stuff done. You're experts at running facilities. We're not. We can do science. We can bring researchers and students and everything else. But how about we talk about a new kind of way of doing things with you guys? And that's where it's gone. So here we are. We've run a few projects in the greenhouse for different clients, big and small. Since we've started this new model, it's pretty straightforward. The county is really responsive, and we want to pay that back today and tell the story of how it's gone really well working with, especially Todd and Candace and the rest of the staff at the county.
Fantastic. What do you think of the energy in the room today? The number of people that came out to hear and discuss and talk about research in the agricultural space?
It doesn't surprise me at all. Anytime you get people who are passionate about agriculture and agriculture applied research, you're going to get good energy in a room. And it was really special to have Medicine Hat College host us in their building today to start the day. Some great talks, and I think you could see with the room filled, everyone was. Every speaker was speaking to the crowd, and I saw a lot of nodding heads and that was fantastic. When we moved over to the site itself, then you're reminded why we're here. We get to tour the site, remind ourselves what an asset this is for the County of Newell, for Brooks, for Southeast Alberta. And we're just happy to be part of that. And then you feed off that kind of energy.
And tell us a little bit about what's going on at Lethbridge Polytechnic right now in terms of research.
So applied research at Lethbridge Polytechnic, like all colleges and polytechnics, again, it goes back to industry. We all have our niches. And in Lethbridge, we address the needs of Southern Alberta specifically, which is in the areas of irrigated crop production. So we have the irrigated research farm at Lethbridge that we work out of, but we also work out of on farm with producers directly. We have our controlled environment agriculture. So in other words, greenhouse production. And again, we work not only in our facility in Lethbridge, but right here in Brooks at CDC South. And we also work in post-harvest. So everything between the hopper and the processor, trying to avoid waste and loss through storage and transportation. So we have those three main specialties. And now we're growing into a few other areas like agricultural econometrics. Really important now to know the cost of all your inputs and outputs in changing markets and some unstable trade relationships and unstable markets. And so more and more we're getting calls to do some economics research.
Excellent. Anything you want to add, Andrew, that I haven't asked you?
Not at all. This is a very special event and some good energy. And I have a good feeling that we'll be able to build off this energy and keep this momentum going. Between us, the County of Newell, the Government of Alberta, and all the partners, Medicine Hat College, and everyone else who's come together today, I think you got some really goodwill in the room.
That's Andrew Dunlop from Lethbridge Polytechnic talking about CDC South. And to wrap up the day, I also had a chance to chat with Megan Croft from SVG Ventures about the facility and her experience with it.
First off, just tell us a little bit about what you do in your position.
Yeah, so at SVG Ventures Thrive, we're an innovation and investment platform. So that really means that we're accelerating and putting money into companies that are trying to grow and scale. And we very much have a focus on agri-food and anything kind of adjacent to supporting sustainable agriculture. And in my role specifically, I'm all about connections and creating an ecosystem and a network. And I do a lot of government relations and work like that.
Incredible. I guess So you're here at the CDC Neweall Ag Summit, the first one. Thoughts on today?
I think events like this are really important, especially when we're trying to like reestablish a site like this. So at SVG Ventures, we are working with companies to advance them, so to grow them, to scale them. And as they're doing that, they need a lot of support systems. They need a really strong innovation ecosystem. So part of that work is what we do, which is, in business readiness level, investment readiness level, providing them with training. But we need to have a really holistic approach. And with that, there's also the advancement of the technology. And so research sites like the CDC are so important because we need to have places to send companies so they can validate and test and demonstrate what they're actually doing. Because if you're not doing that, technology is not going to get into the hands of farmers and it's not going to get adopted. So I come to things like this to meet producers, to meet innovators, to talk to the other ecosystem partners to make sure we're having that holistic ecosystem.
What for those who may not know, sort of thing, tell us a little bit about the situation in Canada in regards to the number of places like CDC, these sites where you can do this kind of research.
Yeah, so these kinds of sites exist across the country for sure, and one of the strong referral sources that I always used is like universities, colleges, polytechnics, and they're doing very important work. But some of the private sites are really important as well. So there's a lot of nonprofits across the country. There's a lot of like sites like this that used to be run by government, and now they're trying to find that new home and that new champion. So these sites exist, but we need to be putting resources into them so that they can do the work that they were intended to do.
Yeah. You met with a lot of innovators, have had a lot of innovators go through your programs. When you is there a number of innovators in your head that have jumped out at you, sort of thing like, oh, this company would be a perfect example, perfect for CDC?
I probably couldn't put a number on it, but like SVG has been in Canada for over 5 years now, and we've accelerated over 200 companies. I think it's 205 when I last counted. You know what? Other than because there's not really like livestock research facilities here, but we see so many crop companies, we see so many sensor companies, so many companies using AI in these different ways. New fertilizer products, new biologicals, like the list goes on. So rough estimate, 70% of the companies that we see come through the programs that we do could benefit from working at a place like CDC.
That's Megan Croft from SVG Ventures. Again, Tim, it was just an awesome day. As I said, by the end of it, my theme really became, you start to hear what I call reverberation in regards to that, people are getting are seeing what other people are, how excited other people are about this facility and the opportunities that presents. And I think that the county of Newell are going to see a big pickup in regards to the amount of interest that they're going to have in that facility because of the day that they put together. And it was just great to see so many members of the ag sector come together from across the province. There were people down from Edmonton. It was just a fantastic day in regards to this facility, and I'm really excited to see where it's headed.
Well, it's always great when you get like researchers and academia and producers together in one place and all talking about agriculture and how to move agriculture forward. And certainly that's what the CDC Neweall Ag Summit was all about. And it was just a wonderful event. Glad that we were able to participate in some capacity, and we spoke to some great people, and the future's looking good in ag in Newell County in particular. On that note, let's wrap things up for this week. On behalf of Craig Lester, I'm Tim Parent. Thanks for listening to the Rural Roots Canada podcast.